So I want to start off by where we are right now. We've obviously built a pretty solid, oops, there we go, portfolio of which is four multi-unit properties, one being mixed use. They're performing decently well, but it requires a lot of involvement, as you know. We have tenants, maintenance. Also, you're down there a lot with the buildings, and it's constant oversight. So at the end of all that, we're generating only around 88K a year. Now that's just on paper. Obviously, we have tax advantages as well as the bank savings account with, the equity being paid down in addition to inflation. But all that being said, we're really not capping over 100 to 20 to 150,000 a year with everything. So, yeah. All right. So the problem here isn't that it's broken, it's working. It's just that it doesn't scale in the way that I want when I look at where we are now, 47 years old. I want to be retired and done by 53 to 55. And so it's not that it's broken, it's just that it doesn't scale the way we want. So to grow that income, we need a lot more properties. We probably need almost double what we have now, and that's minimum. So which also means, of course, more tenants, more debt, and more time. And when I'm hitting 55, I don't want to deal with it, and neither do you. And even then, we're not really on track to hit the level of income that we want anyways. So I'm just realizing that what we want is actually very different. We want around 5 to 600K a year, which is the reason I picked that is for a lot of different reasons, but obviously comfortability is a big piece of that. If I'm going to step away from work, it covers not just my salary, but also medical insurance and being comfortable for us, maybe even moving to where we want to live half the year, etc. So we want to take a step back from day to day, and we want to do that within the next 5 years, like I said. So the real question here becomes, how do we get there without adding more stress? And with all the lanes that I've been looking at for strategy and investments, I looked at the four different lanes. That was adding more properties, two, building more properties or rehabbing investments, so ARV after repair values. The third would have been actually buying a business. And this is really a piece of lane four, which is a hybrid model. So I'll get to that in a second. So instead of continuing to stack more rental properties, this is the shift in the model that produces significantly more income per asset. It's also passive. So if we JV and partner, then that's where the residential assisted living really comes in. It combines the real estate, which I really like a lot because it still allows us to keep and own real estate in addition to a business model that generates a much higher cash flow. So what does this look like? What will we need going into this? To do that, we don't need new money. We simply just reposition what we already have. And it also takes away less stress, more stress. It creates less stress for us. So I've done all the numbers. This would really mean that we sell two properties, 2044 and 6335. I realized that we just purchased 6335 not long ago. 2044, we actually refinanced and capitalized on some of the income there to purchase 6335. Both are at strong values that would really give us in return around 300K, and that's conservative. So we need about 300K going into this next deal, but it also gets rid of a lot of our largest debt. So right now we're paying almost $5,800 a month for 60. I'm sorry, for 2044 West Birchwood, and with 6335 we're over 5,500. So we're over 11K a month for both those properties. So that would we could recoup the asset, recoup the money to put this into this next deal, and then it would be a lot less stress on us financially. Okay, so ultimately that means that we would keep 2057 and 40 North Main Street, which I love because those are our two stabilized and income strong properties. So that would also allow us to shift into this next residential assisted living, but still have income coming in from both properties. So we're not starting over. We would keep 2057, which and 40 North Main as long-term assets. 40 North Main is going to catch up over time. If we sell the property right now, it really doesn't make sense, and we're only 230,000 left on that. So we'll have that paid off within the next by year 2044, and that's if we just keep it going the way that it is. And that means an extra 6 to 7 thousand a month in income on top of that. So, and 2057, we're making about 3 to 4 grand a month off right now. So we get to keep both those properties and get rid of our biggest headaches. So this first deal would be about 290,000 out of pocket for us. Now the good part that I love about this is that we wouldn't be doing it alone. It's called a JV or a joint venture. And so we would be partnering with a group called Assisted Living Mansion, and they really provide the model, the systems, and the guidance. So it's consulting on top of that. They do this for a living. They're it every day. They're very reputable in space. So instead of guessing our way through this, we simply followed a structured path from financing to the building of the operations. And we can talk to some of these other guys that are currently doing this right now, get some testimonials, and talk to the people that have not just opened one, but then one and did it again and again and again. Some people only stay with two, and then just take the income, which is really what we're gearing towards. But who knows? Maybe we get to a point where we want to do it more. Okay, so these are the numbers, and I've really gone through super conservatively. Each property has the potential to generate around 250 to 400K. Some are doing 600K. We can get into that later. There's ways to do that with, Alzheimer's. It all depends on how you mix. But even after the partnership, we're still looking. The partnership is 15% of our income. So, but even after that, we're still looking at a roughly 200 to 300,000 per property annually, and that's just for the two properties. So, we're in that for about yeah, 500 to 700K range. So, in talking with Alex, who's the guy from Assisted Living Mansions, just know it's between like 6 to 18 months. This is a little bit off. But it doesn't happen overnight, which I'm fine with. We'll still have the other properties. We just have to sell these other two properties. Um, but it's also not a long-term guess, right? So we know exactly what would be happening, and we have them there the whole way as far as guiding us. So the next few months we would sell our properties, then 12 to 18 months for the build and the licensing, and then we would stabilizing. Same thing as real estate. We would be getting all the tenants, well, I guess residents more appropriately, getting residents into there, which would be about 6 to 12 months max to fill, and then. In about 36 months, we're fully transitioned. All right, so why does this work? Uh, because we're not taking on more, we're simplifying, which I love. I think it's time. I know that you're tired, and I know it's been a lot. So we're selling, we're stabilizing our assets, and our strong values. We're utilizing those for what they're meant to be. Sure, we're cannibalizing a couple properties, but that's the whole point of why we did what we did. We've been living very frugally for the last, 20 years. And great thing for both of us because all it did was basically set aside bank accounts within our mortgages every time that those are paid. But this now allows us to move into something that produces more income with less effort. So it's a much smarter allocation of what we already have. It's basically graduating, and this is what we've been wanting to do. So there's no question in my mind. This is absolutely, without a doubt, the next best step for us, both both mentally, I think, but also strategically. All right. I'm not sure why they made you a white bitch, but they did. So maybe Chat GPT is racist. I'm not sure. But this is kind of the point of all this. Less tenant issues, less day-to-day management, uh, much more time to do it, whatever it is that we want to do, and having the income that doesn't require us to be constantly involved. And it's not just more money, but it's basically a different lifestyle. And so that'd be a great place to adjust to. But 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years out, that's what we're looking at. So what does that mean for next steps? One, we listed two properties, 6335, 2044 West Birchwood is perfect time right now. It's summertime. We engage with ALM, which is assisted living mansions. We go through SBA, which is with me being a veteran, it's a really positive thing with SBA loans, and so we secure that financing with us having what we do with our 401k and TSP accounts and our current business being in business for over 20 something years now, that's going to be a shoe-in. And then we basically start this first project. So what I'd like to do after this is get those properties listed as quickly as possible and get moving.